I'd like to apologize for the inappropriate comment that some of you heard. Maybe all of you heard. It was a joke, and I didn't think it was going to be that loud. Secondly, your speech is a lot to do with unifying Troy 5. And you say that it begins from the patriarch down through its executive board and whatnot into the general members. Say there is someone who is being insubordinate to you as the president. How would you handle that situation? Would you wait for internal to fix it, or would you yourself fix that problem?
That's a very good question. What I would do, see, one of my big things about unification is keeping the communication going. So when a problem comes, you got to hit it head on, because it's little things, let's say like a look, a glance, that can actually grow into something more than that, which grows into drama, which grows into splitting of the entire groups. And so if you hit the problem head on, you won't have to deal with the consequences later down the road. So to answer your question, it would be hit the problem straight on right when it happens. Yeah. Kristen.
So the past few years, there's been a huge shift in leadership. One was, say, really strict, and then this year it's a little bit more relaxed. Describe your leadership style.
My leadership style is more, it's more in the middle. So I tend to have a calm environment when I'm working with people. I feel like that's the best way to communicate. I feel like that's the best way to plan events and whatnot. Though I am calm, and it can, you can be relaxed, it's also very important that you know when business is. When you're doing business, when you're doing some sort of transaction, or you're focusing on planning an event and it's crunch time, there's not really much room for messing around or that kind of thing. So I'd say that end would be more businessy. But to keep it businessy, you have to have moments of fun. So obviously, like, motivation is very key. Motivating your e-board and making sure that they can get through the hard times, even when they're feeling pressured by school and e-board work and whatnot. Keep them motivated and always encourage.
You're more of a fun, clownsy, funny guy kind of type. How will you command respect in your e-board, and how will you lessen the load for them also?
Well, I think my personality is very happy, very bubbly. I think I like to use that actually as a strength, because I'm not like, it's not going to be all serious, right? I'm not going to be the type of person who's just like serious all the time and but see, it's like the way that I function is that's how I encourage people, and that's how I feel that people will look up to me, because I'll be still encouraging them while still having a smile on my face, or maybe I'll be telling them to do a task, and I'll be fair. I'll be as fair as I can.
Some will consider the breaks from tradition this year refreshing, and it's nice to see things change up. But coming from an alumni perspective, especially for next year, it's nice to see some old traditions live on. So, aside from PACN and formals, which traditions, both continued and or now discontinued, or if any, would you bring back and why?
I think one of the big things that we missed out on this year was having a big fall event, for example, like TMF. So one of the things that I hope to do for next year would be to bring back TMF. I know there were a lot of complications with that 2 years ago when I was social chair, and this year as well. So hopefully, I believe that those have been mostly resolved. And so I feel like having some sort of big fall event, whether it is TMF or whether it's some sort of other function, I believe TMF would be very, it looks good in the alumni's opinion, and I'd like to bring back that tradition. I'd also like to bring back some of those challenges and stuff that we have with the alumni. So for example, like a dough bowling, I'd like to bring Adobe Bowl and all those alumni interaction with sports competitions back. Chris.
So you mentioned about having a big fall event. What are the factors that you would take into consideration when determining, first of all, whether to do a big fall event like TMF, and if so, then what type of event you would do? Like, what would go into that discussion?
Okay, so first, I'd start thinking about it right when summer starts, just to see what the landscape looks like for the following semester, and then after that, I'd look at the budget, how much money we have, how much we need to raise, events that are going on, and when a suitable time is, when an event is that we'd have the most profit, we get the most profit from if we do collect money or whatever. Also, when would be most available for general members, Troy Flyers, USC students, and people from other organizations, because we don't want to have an event where it's just 30 Troy Flyers and it's big, massive, we've been planning it for the whole entire year. We want to be able to make it convenient for everybody and have a very smart time, place, location, date, what have you. John.
What are the virtues of leadership that you would seek to instill in the other members of the e-board?
The first one would be confidence, for sure, because I know, I think the next year's board will be young. For example, I will be a junior next year, and I feel like there's going to be people who are applying to the board who are first-time e-board. So one is confidence. Confidence that you have, though you are young, though you are still fresh in Troy 5's eyes, you are a smart and intelligent person, and you will be able to carry out any task, no matter how old you are. You can be 5, 10 years old in Troy 5.
Yep.
I don't think there's anybody who's 10 years.
How do you know my real age?
But yeah, so confidence definitely, and the second thing I would say is taking initiative. There's times where people feel that they're not so secure yet, and you really have to motivate them and encourage them and say, you can do this, and just take initiative. E-board is a learning process. You start out, you don't really know what you're getting into, but once you figure it out a month, a couple weeks into the semester, then you say, I know what I'm doing now. I'm going to take initiative on all these things, and leading by example is one of the main things to Crystal.
Name one major thing within Troy Fight, one major responsibility or event that you headed yourself, and how that better prepared you as a school to become future president.
Okay, so the question is an event that I planned, and how did that help?
It could be an event or dance or responsibilities, something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something.
Okay. Well, usually you see me right at the meetings. I'm talking a lot. Becoming comfortable in front of a group of people was one of the biggest things that I've actually learned as EVP. Initially, before when I first started, I might not have been so secure again about how to convey myself to other people. But as the weeks progress, I've actually come to enjoy public speaking, enjoy speaking in front of all of you, and it's just been an honor that you guys are my audience.
I guess this is the last question, right?
Yeah, last question.
Okay. I'd ask you to evaluate the current president and what you could improve upon, what you offer to improve upon this year.
Okay. Well, the current president right now, I feel like he did a very good job. But in all seriousness, I felt like the leadership style of the current president is more relaxed compared to Bruce. Bruce had a very pretty much all business style, whereas Andrew had a very had a relaxed sort of take on the president. I feel that my leadership style will transition well in between both the previous presidents because I'm kind of the middle ground. And I think, like I said before, I believe that it's a really important aspect, to know when the business is and when